I always sit facing the door. Every room I have lived in since 1970, I have arranged the furniture so I can see the entrance. Restaurants, I sit with my back to the wall. Movie theaters, I sit on the aisle. Waiting rooms, I sit where I can see who comes in. My second wife used to ask me why I could never just sit anywhere, like a normal person, without making a project of it. I told her it was a habit. That was not a lie exactly. It is a habit. It is also the clearest evidence available that I left Vietnam in 1970, but Vietnam did not entirely leave me. My name is Frank DeLuca. I am 75 years old. I live in Buffalo, New York, same city I was born in, same city I will die in. I served in the United States Army from 1968 to 1970. I was in Vietnam for 14 months. I came home when I was 21 years old. I have been home for 54 years. For 45 of those 54 years, I was living with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I did not know that is what it was called. I did not know it had a name. I did not know it was a condition that could be treated. I knew that I was different after I came back. I knew that something in me had been rewired in the jungle and did not rewire back. I knew that the people who tried to love me were paying a price for something I could not explain to them because I could not explain it to myself. But I did not know the word for it, and not knowing the word for it meant I could not fight it the way I had been taught to fight things. You cannot defeat an enemy you cannot name. I am going to tell you my whole story today. I have not told it this way before. Not complete, not in order, not all of it. I have told parts of it in VA groups, and parts of it to the counselor I finally started seeing at 65, and parts of it to my son Anthony in conversations that cost both of us more than either of us showed. But I have never told the whole thing start to finish. I think it is time. Because there are men out there right now, sitting in chairs they have positioned facing the door, and they do not know why they do it, and they have been doing it for 30 years, and it has cost them 2 marriages and their children's easy laughter around them, and a version of peace they have never managed to hold on to. I want those men to hear this. I want their families to hear it. And I want anyone who has ever said to a veteran, just get over it, the war was 50 years ago, I want them to hear it most of all. I was born in 1950 in the Black Rock neighborhood of Buffalo, New York. If you know Buffalo, you know Black Rock. If you do not know Buffalo, imagine a neighborhood where everybody's grandfather came from somewhere in Italy, and nobody talked about it much because they were American now, and being American was the whole point. My grandfather came from Calabria in 1923. My father, Carmine DeLuca, was born in Buffalo in 1925 and worked at the Bethlehem steel plant in Lackawanna for 33 years. My mother Rosa kept the house and raised 4 children and made gravy every Sunday that I can still smell if I close my eyes and concentrate. We were not rich. We were not poor. We were Buffalo working class, which meant you worked and you ate and you went to mass and you did not complain about the cold because the cold was just the cold and complaining did not warm you. I had 3 sisters, Maria, Connie, and Teresa, and I was the only boy, which in an Italian household in the 1950s meant a specific kind of expectation that settled on your shoulders early and did not lift. You were going to be the man of the house someday. You were going to take care of people. You did not show weakness. You did not cry, not after a certain age. You handled things. My father was not cruel about this. He did not pound it into me. He simply lived it himself and I watched him live it, and I understood that this was what men did. That lesson, the lesson about not showing weakness, not asking for help, handling things alone, was the most natural thing in the world to me at 14. It became the most destructive thing in the world to me at 22. And I did not understand why until I was 65. I was a decent student and a very good athlete. Football and baseball. The kind of kid who was well liked without being popular in a complicated way. Just solid, reliable, present. I had a girlfriend in high school named Donna Pellegrino, who I was crazy about, and who I am certain was smarter than me in every way. I had friends I had known since first grade. I had a neighborhood that felt like an extension of my family. My life at 18 was exactly as large as Black Rock, Buffalo, and I was comfortable in that size. Then the government made my life considerably larger, and nothing was the same after that. I graduated high school in June of 1968. I had been accepted to Buffalo State College on a partial scholarship. I was going to study physical education. I was going to be a gym teacher and a coach. That was the plan. I want you to know there was a plan because the plan matters. It matters that I was not adrift. I was not looking for adventure or direction. I had a direction. The draft notice came in August, 8 weeks after graduation, and it redirected me. I reported for induction in October of 1968. Basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Advanced infantry training at Fort Polk, Louisiana. I was in Vietnam by February of 1969. I was 19 years old. I am not going to spend a lot of time describing what Vietnam was like, because I do not think I owe anyone the details, and because the details are not the point of this story. The point of this story is what Vietnam did to my nervous system, and what my nervous system did to everyone who tried to live with it afterward. But I will tell you enough so you understand. I served with the 1st Infantry Division in 3rd Corps, the area around Saigon, extending northeast. Jungle and rice paddies and small villages, and heat that was like nothing a kid from Buffalo had any frame of reference for. My unit lost 7 men in 14 months. I knew all 7 of them. Tommy Bianchi from Staten Island, who taught me to play pinochle. Ray Morrison from Alabama, who had a daughter born while he was deployed and carried her photograph in his helmet band. 5 others, whose names I carry without ever saying out loud, because saying them out loud still does something to my chest at 75 that I cannot fully describe. The specific thing that Vietnam does to a person's nervous system, and I have read about this since the VA finally explained it to me, so I am not guessing, is that it puts the brain's threat detection system on permanent high alert. In the jungle, everything is a potential threat. Every sound, every movement, every shadow. The brain learns this. The brain adapts to this. The brain becomes very, very good at it. And then you come home. And home is not the jungle. Nothing in home is a threat. But your brain does not know that yet. Your brain is still running the jungle software in an environment that doesn't require it. And the mismatch between what your brain is doing and what the environment actually demands produces symptoms. Nightmares, hypervigilance, irritability, rage, emotional numbness, the inability to be fully present with people you love, the feeling of being a stranger in your own life. I lived every one of those symptoms for 50 years, and I thought it was just who I was. I thought it was just Frank DeLuca. It was not just Frank DeLuca. It was PTSD. But nobody said that word to me in 1970. I came home in April of 1970. My mother held me so long at the airport that my father had to put his hand on her shoulder to get her to let go. My sisters were there. Donna Pellegrino was there. I stood in the arrivals hall, and I held my mother, and I was genuinely glad to be home. But my eyes never stopped moving. Exits, corners, faces. My mother did not notice. She was looking at my face. I was looking at the room. The first 6 months back in Buffalo, I was functional, glad to be home, eating real food, sleeping in a real bed. I went back to Buffalo State in the fall of 1970. I tried to pick up where I had left off. Some of it worked. The classes were fine. The campus was fine. What was not fine was being around groups of people, crowded rooms, loud environments. Any sudden sound that I could not immediately identify and locate. A car backfiring 3 blocks away could leave me on the floor for 30 seconds before I got myself back together. I did not tell anyone about the floor moments. I put them in the same category as everything else that was different since I came back. Things to manage, things to muscle through, things that were nobody's business. The nightmares started within a few weeks of coming home, and they did not stop for decades. Not every night, but frequent enough that sleep became something I approached carefully rather than something I looked forward to. I do not want to describe the specific content. What I will say is that in the nightmares, I am always 20 years old, and always in the jungle, and always responsible for something I cannot control. I wake from them completely alert, heart rate elevated, fully oriented, already scanning the room. Susan, my first wife, learned early not to touch me if she was awake when I came out of one. You learn, with some things, not to touch. The rage was the part I am most ashamed of, and the part I think most important to name clearly, because it is the symptom that did the most damage to the people around me. It was not constant. I was not walking around angry all the time. Most of the time I was even-tempered, even pleasant. But there was a threshold, a specific kind of stimulus, usually something loud and unexpected, or a feeling of being confined or controlled, that would cross a line in my nervous system and produce a response that was completely out of proportion to whatever had triggered it. It lasted 30 seconds, maybe a minute. And in 30 seconds or a minute, you can do a great deal of damage to a relationship with someone who loves you and does not understand what just happened and is now standing 4 feet away, trying to figure out if it is safe to speak. I married Sandra Marchetti in 1975. We had known each other since high school. She was kind and patient, and she loved me in the complete way of a woman who chooses a man with full knowledge of his edges and decides the edges are worth it. For the first 2 years of our marriage, the edges were manageable. Not invisible, she knew they were there, but manageable. We had a son in 1977, Anthony, and a daughter in 1980, Renata. Having children increased the pressure in ways I did not anticipate and was not equipped to handle. More noise, more unpredictability, more moments when something small and sudden crossed the line in my nervous system, and I became someone my children did not recognize. I never hit anyone. I want to say that clearly because I think it matters, and because there are men who come home from war and do cross that line, and I did not. But there is a great deal of damage available on this side of the line. Doors slammed hard enough to shake the house. Voices raised to a volume that left the room silent afterward, in the specific silence of people who are waiting to see if it is over. The withdrawal, days of emotional absence where I was in the house but not in the house, somewhere in my head that nobody else could reach and I could not explain. Sandra tried. She suggested counseling. I said I did not need counseling. She suggested the Veterans Center. I said I was fine. I was not fine. I was a man who had been taught that asking for help was the same as admitting weakness, and I had been taught that lesson so thoroughly by my father and by the army that I would accept the destruction of my marriage rather than let anyone call me weak. Sandra left in 1984. Anthony was 7. Renata was 4. She did not leave in anger. She left with the specific sadness of a woman who has spent 9 years trying to reach someone and has finally accepted that the trying is all there is, and there is no more of it in her. She sat across the kitchen table from me and she said, "Frank, I love you. I will always love you. But I cannot raise our children in a house where they are afraid of their own father's bad days. I cannot give them that." She was right. I knew she was right the moment she said it, and I had no answer for it, because there was no answer available to a man who did not know what was wrong with him. I married Carol Ferraro in 1990. I was 40 years old. I told myself I had learned from the first marriage. I told myself I was more controlled now, more aware of my triggers, more capable of managing the parts of myself that had broken Sandra's patience. I was wrong in the specific way of a person who has learned to manage symptoms without understanding or treating the condition producing them. I was better at suppression. Suppression is not healing. Suppression is a dam. It holds for a while, and then it does not hold. Carol was a tougher woman than Sandra in the sense of endurance. She stayed 14 years. 14 years of a marriage that had good stretches and difficult stretches, and the specific kind of sustained difficulty that comes from living with a person who is not fully present even when they are in the room. The hypervigilance was exhausting for her. I know that now. The constant low-level alertness in my body creates a kind of atmospheric tension that everyone in the space feels. You cannot fully relax in a room with someone whose nervous system will not relax. The body reads it. Carol's body read it for 14 years, and it wore her out. She left in 2004. She was not angry. Neither was Sandra. I think about that. Neither wife left in anger. They both left in the sadness of women who had stayed long enough to understand that what they were up against was not stubbornness or a lack of love or a character flaw that could be addressed with enough patience. They were up against something structural, something that went down to the bone. They could not fix it because it was not theirs to fix. And I could not fix it because I did not know it was fixable. I thought it was just me, just Frank DeLuca. 2 marriages telling me the same thing and me having no way to hear what they were saying. Anthony is 47 now. He lives in Rochester with his wife and 3 kids. He is a good man, steady, reliable, the kind of man you want in your corner when something goes wrong. He got those qualities honestly. He got them by watching his mother be steady and reliable, in a household where steady and reliable were sometimes the only things between normal and not normal. He did not get them from me. Not because I was absent. I was in his life throughout, joint custody, every other weekend, the summers. But present in body and present in the way that matters are two different things. Anthony knew the difference. Kids always know. There was a moment when Anthony was about 10 years old that I have never fully gotten past. I came to pick him up for the weekend, and when I came through Sandra's front door, Anthony was on the living room floor playing with something, and he looked up at the sound of the door, and for just a half second, a fraction of a second, not even a full breath, his face showed something I recognized because I had seen it in villages in Vietnam. It was the look of someone deciding very quickly whether what just walked through the door was going to be a problem. In my 10-year-old son, I saw it, and he saw that I saw it, and then he smiled and said, "Hi, Dad," and I said, "Hi, buddy," and we went to the car, and we never talked about that half second, but I have thought about it nearly every day for the last 37 years. That half second is what PTSD looks like when you are watching it from inside the family instead of inside the soldier. Renata and I have a harder relationship. She was younger when the marriage ended, and she experienced the years that followed differently than Anthony did. She will tell you, if you ask her directly, that she spent her childhood not knowing which version of her father was going to show up, the warm one or the closed one, the present one or the one who was somewhere else entirely even when he was standing in front of you. She is not wrong. Both of those fathers existed, and she experienced both of them, and the unpredictability of which one would appear left her, she has told me, with a lifelong difficulty trusting that warmth will last. My daughter has a difficulty trusting warmth because of me. I carry that. There is no other option but to carry it. And to show up consistently now, at 75, and be the version she can trust for whatever time we have left. I went to the VA for a routine physical in 2015. I was 65 years old. I had been to the VA many times over the years for physical things, a knee surgery, the hearing loss, the various small mechanical failures that accumulate in a body that has been used hard. What I had never gone to the VA for was anything psychological. That category did not exist in my operating system in any form that could be admitted to, without triggering the training that said weakness was not a category a man from Black Rock, Buffalo occupied. The counselor who changed everything was a woman named Dr. Reyes. She was in her 40s. She had been working with veterans for 15 years. She had the particular quality of someone who has sat across from enough Frank DeLucas to know exactly how to talk to one without triggering the training. She did not ask me how I was feeling. She asked me practical questions. How did I sleep? What happened when I heard a loud noise? Did I prefer to sit facing the door? I said yes to the door. She nodded. She asked a few more questions, and then she said, "Frank, what you are describing has a name. It is called post-traumatic stress disorder. It is a neurological response to severe and sustained trauma. It is not a character flaw. It is not weakness. It is a condition, and it is treatable." I sat with that for a long time after I left her office. Treatable. The word that meant all of this had been treatable for the entire 45 years I had been living with it. That was not a comfortable thought. Treatable meant that the two marriages, the children who had grown up managing their father's weather, the decades of not fully being able to stay in any room without knowing every exit. All of it had been happening to an untreated condition that a doctor could have addressed. I am not angry about this exactly. The mental health resources for Vietnam veterans in 1970 were essentially non-existent, and the culture around seeking them was actively hostile. I am not angry, but I am aware of the cost, and I think the cost deserves to be named. I started treatment in 2015. Cognitive processing therapy, medication, regular sessions with Dr. Reyes. It is not fast work. It is not comfortable work. It asks you to look directly at the things your nervous system has been protecting you from looking at for decades. The nightmares are less frequent now. Not gone. Less frequent. The threshold for the rage response is higher, not removed. Higher. I can sit in a restaurant now in a seat that is not against the wall. Not comfortably, but I can do it. Progress at 75 looks different than it would have looked at 25. But it is still progress, and I will take every inch of it. They sent us to fight an enemy we could see. Nobody told us about the enemy we would bring home inside our own heads. I fought that one alone for 50 years. No medal for that war. No parade. No debrief. Just a man sitting in chairs that faced the door in a city that had moved on, while part of him was still in a jungle that stopped being a geography and became a permanent condition of the mind. Here is what I know now. The first thing. PTSD is a medical condition, not a moral failing. I believed for 50 years that what was wrong with me was something wrong with me, something in my character, some weakness I had failed to overcome through sufficient will and discipline. It is not that. It is a neurological response to extreme trauma that has measurable, diagnosable, treatable mechanisms. The stigma around it, the stigma I carried myself, the stigma that kept me out of a counselor's office for 45 years, that stigma kills people. Veteran suicide rates will tell you that. The stigma is the enemy now. The stigma is what I want to fight. The second thing, silence is not strength. I was raised to believe that handling things alone was the definition of being a man. My father lived that way. The army trained me to live that way. Vietnam confirmed it. In the jungle, you did not have the option of stopping to process your feelings. You moved. You survived. You kept going. Those skills kept me alive in Vietnam. They kept me from living fully for the 50 years after. The skills that save you in one environment can destroy you in every other environment if you never learn to put them down. I did not know how to put them down. I did not know that putting them down was an option. If I could go back and tell the 21-year-old coming home through that Buffalo airport one thing, it would be this: go talk to someone. Not because you are weak, because you have been through something that your nervous system cannot process alone, and there are people trained to help you do it. Go before you marry anyone. Go before you have children. Go while the damage is still small enough that the people you love do not have to become the proof of it. The third thing, and I say this for the families, if you love a veteran who has never gotten help, please understand what you are dealing with. Not a difficult person, not a selfish person, not someone who does not love you. Someone whose nervous system was reconfigured by experiences you will never fully understand, and who may not have the language or the permission to tell you what they need. The Veterans Crisis Line is 988, press 1. The VA has mental health services. There are community organizations and peer support programs staffed by veterans who have been where your person is. The help exists. The hard part is getting someone raised on silence to reach for it. Be patient. Be consistent. And understand that the wall they built was built in a jungle at 19 to keep them alive. And it worked. And it is very hard to take down something that once saved your life. And the last thing, for Tommy Bianchi from Staten Island, for Ray Morrison from Alabama and his daughter he never came home to, for the 5 others whose names are on a wall in Washington and on a print in my Buffalo apartment and in a part of my memory that nothing and nobody has ever touched. They did not get 50 years. They did not get 2 marriages, even broken ones. They did not get children, even complicated ones. They gave everything at 19 and 20, and they did not get the chance to come home and fail at things, and eventually, slowly, begin to get better. I have all of that. Every difficult year I had was a year they did not get. I try to remember that on the days when the chair facing the door feels like the saddest thing in the world. It is not the saddest thing in the world. I am still here to sit in it. That is not nothing. That is everything. My name is Frank DeLuca. I am 75 years old. I served in Vietnam, and I came home, and I spent 50 years fighting a war nobody could see. I have been in treatment for 10 years, and I am better than I was, and I will never be entirely what I was before. I have made my peace with that. The peace is not perfect, but it is mine. If you are a veteran, or if you love one, the Veterans Crisis Line is 988, press 1. Free, confidential, available every hour of every day. The call is not weakness. The call is the bravest thing you can do with everything you have already survived. If this story reached something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. There are men out there right now sitting in chairs that face the door, and they have been there for decades, and they do not know why, and they think it is just them. It is not just them. Tell them. Subscribe to Senior Untold Stories. New story every week. Real lives, hard lessons, unheard voices. Leave a comment. Tell me what you took from this, or tell me about someone you know. I read every word. Take care of yourselves. and take care of each other. Good night.